So is it possible to automate your SEO with AI agents? And the short answer is yes, but there's a lot of caveats. And I'm going to show you some real life examples of actually how to go about doing this. Now, I could spend probably an entire day showing you all the different things you can do with agents right now. But I just want to kind of give you a little preview of what you can do, but also some of the huge drawbacks that do occur. So just to give you some context, for the last probably 6 months, 6 to 7 months, I've been very, very deep into vibe coding. And essentially what vibe coding is you use a tool like Replit or you use a tool like Lovable to build websites. Okay. And what I, of course, am approaching is purely from an SEO perspective. So I'll give you an example of this. Rankability, this is, our software company, is completely built with agents, right? It's completely built through vibe coding. There's no developers that have been involved in the process of building this websites. No developers, no designers, no coders, just purely using Replit. Okay. So just to give you some context, if we were to get this site designed page by page, if we had 50, 100 pages, it could cost up to $10,000, even $20,000 to get this site fully developed and published. But on top of it, not just that, to make changes to the website, we would also need a developer to go through and tweak those changes. So everything gets slower and longer, and this development process becomes absolutely brutal. But when you harness the power of agents, you can make changes to your website literally at lightning speed. Now, I want to make one thing clear here. I am not an affiliate of Replit or Lovable or any of these tools. I don't care which ones you use. It doesn't make a difference to me. But what matters is showing you the potential of what these tools can do, but not just from, just building web pages, but also from all of the SEO stuff that it can do. And no one is really talking about this. And I've been kind of hinting that I was going to talk about it here recently, and I'm going to show you a few things that you can do. But then, like I said, we're talking many, many things we can do. And in fact, I literally built, just to prove how powerful this can be, I literally built a side business just for fun, just to prove how powerful this is. It's called Collect Read. Okay. And I built this 100% with Replit. Even the back end is all built with Replit. Like I'll literally log in so you can see. Okay. So this is all built with Replit, front end, back end. And this has customers. Like this is actually made money. Okay. And I only built this just to prove the concept and how effective it can be, but literally developed this whole website, whole back end user experience all through Replit. And it costs, I think, less than $1,000 to build it end to end. A business that's actually generating revenue. It's already profitable. Okay. Now this is, like I said, this is something I'm just going to offload to someone else. This is not my core business. So this was just for fun because Pocket was shutting down. So I built this little quick business, but I wanted to demonstrate how effective this can be and that it can actually produce real life results. Okay. So with that said, I want to, now that I've hyped it up, I want to bring it back down to reality. All right. So number one, with Lovable, for example, you can go in here and it's very, very simple. You can go and build a website very fast with just prompts. Okay. Now here's the downside. And this is unfortunate. I feel really bad for people that don't have a background in SEO. They think that by going in here and building these sites that they're going to be able to get a lot of organic traffic, which unfortunately you are not going to get a lot of organic traffic from Google, any search engines, or even any large language models, because especially the large language models are really, really dependent on pure HTML. Okay. So here's an example of this. So I took one of these random websites here, and this is one of the ones that is an example here on Lovable. Okay. We can see it. Now, here's how you can tell that this is not going to be good from an SEO perspective. All right. So we're going to go ahead and view page source, and you can see this is the problem that you're going to see here. So as you can tell from the code from Lovable, this is not a pure HTML website, right? There's JavaScript that's blocking the content, which then is going to make it very, very difficult for traditional search engines and large language models to ultimately understand what this page is about. And if it cannot render, it's basically going to be a blank page to these crawlers. Okay. And so you don't want that to happen. What you want to have is what I'm going to show you right now, which is if we'll just go to Rankability, for example, do the same exact thing. We'll view page source. And what you're going to see here is we can see the actual text popping up in the body. Okay. We can see the actual words here. And what we need to have it like this because this allows proper crawling, proper understanding of these pages. and ultimately proper indexing. Okay. Because crawling and indexing are the precursors to ranking in not just in traditional search engines, but also for being a source of retrieval inside of the large language models. Okay. So it's really, really critical. And this is very, very important if you're going to use these platforms. Now, here's the downside of these platforms. By default, they almost always use JavaScript, like by default. And I hope this changes in the future. There's a couple other tools out there that do this, that do HTML driven vibe coding. But, if you want as much flexibility as possible, unfortunately, they're not as deep as Replit or Lovable. So there is a workaround. I'm not going to get too deep into this workaround because it takes a lot of time and there's a lot of steps involved. But essentially what you want to do is go to, convert the design to Astro. Okay. So this framework here is exactly what you want to convert your JavaScript design to. And this will make your site, blazing fast. It will make it crawlable and make it indexable and ultimately be able to perform from an SEO and AI search perspective. Okay. So not going to get into this, by the way, but I just want to tell you, if you're going to do any of these platforms, as soon as you build out your design, in fact, one of the things that I do right now is like in Replit, the way that I do it, and I'm not saying this is the best way, but this is the way that I've been doing it, is I go in here and I do an incredibly simple prompt, right? Just something really basic to develop a very simple site. Because then as soon as it develops the site, the next thing I say is, okay, now convert this website to pure HTML via Astro. Okay. And sometimes it can do it without a lot of guidance. And if it will do okay, but sometimes it's good to bring in ChatGPT and give it some proper guidance on how to do that. And then once it builds that foundation, then you're good with the HTML. Okay. So like I said, not going to get into that, but just wanted to kind of reemphasize this point that you have to convert JavaScript design to HTML. It's very, very important. Okay. So now with that said, let me show you some cool stuff you can do with the agents. All right. So number one, I'm rebuilding gotchseo.com, which is Gotch SEO Academy, and completely on Replit. Okay. And this is like currently in development. You can see what's going on here. Now, I'll walk you through a couple of things that we can do. So, all right. So I'll just take one of these like best SEO community. Okay. So then we're going to go into rankability. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to the content optimizer and I'm going to put in best SEO community. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and run that optimizer. And in this case, we can use AI generated content. So we certainly will do that. And then we're going to go here. We're going to do AI content. We're going to do a product page or a landing page in this case. And then in here, we're going to put stuff about the Gotch SEO Academy community. Okay, so as you can see, I went ahead and put a bunch of details in here, which will feed into the AI. So we have a lot of algorithmic stuff going on in the back end, but this is really critical when you're building commercial pages because you want to give as much detail as humanly possible. The AI won't always use this, but you want to give it as much raw material as possible because it's usually going to produce a way better output. Okay, so while we're waiting, I'll show you a couple other quick examples of how you can use the agent. So another one is with schema. Okay. A lot of debate on whether LLMs use schema or not. To me, it doesn't really matter. I'm using schema just to make sure that the pages are properly structured and ultimately to drive rich results inside of Google and other search engines. So that's really the purpose I'm doing is to drive CTR, not because it's going to influence the LLMs per se. Okay, that's not the objective. What we're going to do is we're going to go in here and there's two things you can do in Replit. You can do plan or build. So sometimes it's best to use plan if you're not entirely sure the appropriate action. So you can do something like this. We'll run a plan and then we'll see what it comes up with as far as the best schema markup for that specific page. And then if we, agree with it, then we can go into the execution phase. Okay, so while Replit is going, we can also at the same time start running an agent specifically in ChatGPT to get our link prospecting going. So then I just went into the agent, very simple prompt, which is find listicle opportunities for Gotch SEO Academy for best SEO training, certifications, XYZ. Okay. Once again, we're just going to go ahead and run that. So now we've got multiple things running at one time. We've got rankability, creating the AI, highly optimized AI content. We've now got Replit building our schema plan. And then we've also got the agent currently running to find us opportunities. Okay. And as you can see, this agent's already going through and doing this work for you. So you can see already how we're already starting to save a significant amount of time just by using these agents. All right. So let's go back to rankability. That's all done. So we can go ahead and open this up and we'll see how it performed. And based on what we're seeing here, it did a pretty good job. Yeah, pretty good job. Pretty good first draft. It hit on all the core topics that really matter here. And this is exactly what we want. This is terrific. This is like a very good first draft to build from. Now, I just want to make it clear. This is always a first draft, all right? I'm not going to get super deep into cleaning this up because it's going to take such a long time, but you can see there's like little small details. Like, you know, for example, SEO is not fully capitalized. Okay. So we can actually run this through. We can go in and create a dedicated page inside of Replit, which is I want to show you how to do. But first, let's make sure the schema is all good to go. Okay. So let's check this. And based on what Replit is telling us, it's saying that, educational or course type of schema is the best option here. Okay, so we can see here, this all looks good. We can look at the reviews, and it's showing the different types of schema we can use. So this all looks really good. So based on this, we can go here and we can go to build, and then we can simply go and build the schema. So we'll go ahead and make sure. Now, this is important when you're doing this. Make sure you're very deliberate with this and you say something like, put the URL that you're going to make this change to, and then just say, create the schema based on this plan. Okay. And now what it's going to do is it's actually going to go through to that page. It's going to implement that schema, and then I'll show you how we can go and validate that schema markup. Okay. So while this is going now, what we can do is we can start to build the plan to move this content over to Replit. Now, based on this, like I said, this would go through several revisions before I went and obviously published this. But just for the sake of doing this, we're just going to go ahead and keep it really simple. Okay, so we're just going to copy this over. We're going to go to Replit and we're going to create a new post. Okay, so now this is ready to go. Very simple problem. What I found the best thing to do is when you're giving multiple actions, just use a pipe in between. That's really helpful because it can see the differences of actions that it needs to take. So you can see here, I just said, create a new commercial sales page. I'm using the copy, obviously, for rankability, title tag, URL, meta description, schema, telling it to make some edits based on just what I saw initially, and then also making sure the design matches the rest of the website. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and run that, and now it's going to go and design that. In the meantime, we're going to go here. Okay, so now we're going to do here is we're going to go back in here, and I'm going to show you the schema that was built for this page. Okay, so where we built schema on this page, had the AI do it. So now we can actually go and validate this schema. Okay, so go to the schema builder, and we'll see how it did. So it has the course schema, which it said it was going to do, and it looks like it's perfectly validated. We've got that perfect course schema in there. And then we're going to go over here and we'll also look, it's got the organizational schema. Once again, pretty good, but needs some work. It's not great. It needs to be kind of revised, and more depth needs to be added to the schema. But as far as like a base level schema, it's doing okay. Okay. And keep in mind, this is just like anything else. You're going to have to iterate and improve it, but this is really to kind of speed up this process a lot quicker. Okay. So as you can tell, now it's starting to build out that commercial page that we've already optimized. But the cool thing is like, we've already basically got the schema all done. Okay. So we're good there. So that's just another small example of like how quickly we can move on this. And just imagine you can multiply this, significantly fast across many, many commercial pages. You can do this very, very quickly. Okay. Another small thing is, as we build out like that community page, I can tell it to go and place that navigation item in the primary navigation. Okay, so it will go and do that. I can also have it build internal links from other pages back to that page. It will do that as well. So kind of showing you the different things you can do. So we talked about schema. You can have it build sitemaps. You can have it build your robots.txt file, and you can implement directives like no index or whatever else on any pages, just with simple prompts. Okay. You can do that all in here. And I'll actually show you. You can see here with the actual files. We'll go over here and you see, I built out a custom 404 page specifically just using Replit. So like if we go to, we'll just make this purposely a 404. We'll just do something like this to break it. And you'll see dedicated 404 page, completely built 100% with Replit. Anything that WordPress can do, Replit can do it. It just requires a little more customization. Okay. But you're sacrificing kind of the templated approach for more freedom to do whatever you want. And that's the thing that I think is so incredibly awesome about these tools is like, the world is really your oyster when it comes to this. You could literally do anything on your website with the agents. Will it always be perfect? Will it always be good right out of the gate? Absolutely not. It requires a lot of finessing, a lot of editing, a lot of work, but the stuff you can do is insane. So like, okay, so now this page is done. So let's go ahead and take a look how it did on that first shot. And like I said, you never know. Like sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not, but that's why we got to work with it. So based on this early, early design, not bad, really not bad at all. And in fact, it's already linking to the application page. So like I mentioned, it's already doing what it needs to do, which is beautiful. Okay. So now we're going to go down here and you can see pretty okay design, nothing super spectacular. It's going to need a little more work, a little more finessing. But as far as like a first draft, if you want to move really quickly and get an iteration out really quickly, get it crawled, get it indexed, get it ranking, and then start to improve it, it's pretty hard to beat. Okay. And that's what you gotta be thinking. I was like, okay, speed. And I really think we're at a place now in SEO where you really want to be thinking about minimum viable content. Okay. So what's like the minimum viable content that's good that you can get out, get it crawled, get it indexed, get it ranking somewhere in the top 100 or so. And then from there, slowly just keep improving it like it's a SaaS product, right? Every page is like its individual product and you're going to keep doing iterations until it becomes, this beautiful, beautiful page. And just to give you an example, like this home page that I built, this is an example of like multiple iterations, right? Took multiple iterations to get to this point, but now it's in a place where I'm like, okay, this is a good version. Like this is a pretty solid version. I can move on to the next one. So I just wanted to show you this today because the speed at which we can do things is unbelievable if you're willing to get your hands dirty with this. All right. And I want to make it very clear that not every website is suitable for using these vibe coders. Okay. Like if you're e-commerce, I'd be very careful. I would not really try to do this with e-com yet. Okay. But if you have a smaller website, you're working with a local business that's like purely lead generation based, you're working with a restaurant, like basically any local business that's basically lead generation based or in-person based. I mean, I just can't fathom why you wouldn't want to use this because it's so incredibly fast. And you can do work. Like, I think it's possible that one SEO person now can do like the work of 5 to 10 people at this point, when you combine these tools together. So like for me, my tool stack is very simple. I'm using Replit, obviously agents with Replit, to build out these pages, make technical changes, kind of organize the whole operation. And then, what you can do is obviously stack on rankability with that, for the content side. And then ChatGPT for any roadblocks that you hit. Like whenever I hit a roadblock, I just go to ChatGPT. I use the reasoning model, of course, to help me. Okay. All right. So going back to this, we're looking at the agent here for ChatGPT and we can see we've already got listable opportunities that we can go and pursue right now. Okay. So we got Diggity Marketing, my good friend here, Matt Diggity. I could reach out to him and see like, okay, are we visible in here? And it looks like we already are on this listicle. So, we're good to go on this one. But another thing, if you want to take this to the next level, another thing you can do is with the agent, you can have the agent crawl this list and say, which of these platforms or which of these pages is Gotcha SEO Academy listed. Okay. And only show me the ones where Gotcha SEO Academy is not listed. And it looks like it's actually already taken an initiative to do that. So, but we can, go a little bit deeper on this. Okay. So we're starting to see these are the opportunities. So once again, work that would have taken, quite a bit of time to do on your own. We did it with one prompt and now we've got some work that we can go and pursue. Okay. And there's even more levels to this. You can have the agent do the outreach. You can have the agent do the qualification. Like there's so many layers to this. And I just wanted to give you a little preview of what's possible. And trust me, I'm going to be sharing a lot more about this, but I just wanted to show you like, there's so much you can do. I already showed you can create SEO driven content very easily. You can upgrade and optimize existing content. Okay. So you could go into rankability, for example, run a content optimizer for a dedicated page, take the meat of that, the optimized meat from that page, or even take the NLP. Like for example, I'll show you this. Go into SEO coaching and we'll go ahead and pull this out. And what I can do is I can just copy this over and then I can go over to Replit and say, okay, optimize this page for maximum relevance using these topics. Okay. And we'll do, / SEO coaching. And then what I would do is I would just paste in these NLP, the keywords that come from NLP. from analyzing the competitors. And then you would run this and it would go through and it would actually rework that entire page to make sure that we're covering those topics. So it might add an FAQ section, it might add multiple sections. You let the AI kind of work that out. And based on my experience of doing this possibly thousands of times at this point, I can tell you that it works incredibly well.